Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do your May the 30th just for today in a meditation. If you need to reach me, feel free to do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. The title of today's meditation is Loneliness versus Being Alone. Loneliness versus being alone. Sharing with others keeps us from feeling isolated and alone. That comes from the basic text, page 85. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Being lonely is a state of the heart, an emptiness that makes us feel sad and sometimes hopeless. Loneliness is not always alleviated when we enter into relationships or surround ourselves with others. Some of us are lonely even in a room full of people. Many of us came to Narcotics Anonymous out of the desperate loneliness in our addiction. Let me repeat that. Many of us came to Narcotics Anonymous out of the desperate loneliness of our addiction. After coming to meetings, we begin to make new friends, and often our feelings of loneliness ease. But many of us must contend with loneliness throughout our recovery. What is the cure for loneliness? The best cure is to begin a relationship with a higher power that can help fill the emptiness of our heart. We find that when we have a belief in a higher power, we never have to feel lonely. We can be alone more comfortably when we have a conscious contact with the God of our understanding. We often find deep fulfillment in our interactions with others as we progress in our recovery. Yet we also find that the closer we draw to our higher power, the less we need to surround ourselves with others. We begin to find a spirit within us that is our constant companion as we continue to explore and deepen our connection with a power greater than ourselves. We realize we are spiritually connected with something bigger than we are. Just for today, I will take comfort in my conscious contact with a higher power. I am never alone. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Never alone. Loneliness versus being alone. I believe for me, I was, as a child, never alone. There was always someone else because I came from a large family. However, even within that large family, I can say, even though I was never alone, I felt lonely. My relationship with my higher power developed at a very early age, and I had several meaningful encounters with my higher power that made my higher power very real to me. I won't go into detail here. However, my relationship with the God of my own understanding is the strongest relationship that I have ever known as a human being. I can spend hours and hours maintaining conscious contact with my higher power and miss the fact that I also need to be productive in my day-to-day living. It really is something that consumes me and that I enjoy. So even though I have times when I'm alone and I am very much aware that there's no one that I can communicate with or relate to in that moment, I know for a fact that I have a tendency to take being alone and loneliness and still confuse them. I will say I'm lonely when in fact I'm not lonely. I just happen to be experiencing a season of being alone as far as being able to intellectually engage an individual about the things that are important to me. Okay. So most of my contact is with children. I have very little adult contact. The adult contact I have is with my husband, and we have different interests. So, what he watches on television is probably something I would not pick in a million years. So, there's some things that we enjoy watching, like boxing. I am a fan of boxing. I'm a fan of old black and white flicks. So I like to watch older shows and older movies. He's not too much of a fan, but he will make the compromise for me. So we have some things that we come together on. But outside of my husband, having someone that I interact with is something that I'm working on. And I want this person to be someone that I can be stimulated by and also stimulate, like a give and take type friendship. So that's important to me. But even in the absence of that, I do not feel lonely. There are times when I'm very much aware that I'm alone, but I don't feel lonely. And 9 times out of 10, you've experienced that. You've experienced feeling like there's no one in my life that I can relate to. And then coming into the fellowship and finding that there's several people. You can pick and choose. There's several people that will engage you and befriend you, and you can have that feeling of loneliness dissipate. Now, I'm just wondering how many of you have found your relationship with a God of your understanding to be enough during those times when you felt lonely. Put in the comments, that's me, if you've experienced that. I love this meditation, and I believe it's an ongoing type of work that we do, developing the type of relationship with God that pulls us away from that spirit of loneliness and it replaces it. If you haven't reached it, that's what I would want for you. My name is Mighty Stream, and I've enjoyed talking to you today. Hope that you have a beautiful day on purpose. Talk to you soon.